3, 2, go ahead.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome to the Village of Port Jefferson Board of Trustees meeting dated February 7th, 6 p.m. We will have the public portion at 7 o'clock. We have to log out and log back in because we have to go into exec session for a little bit at the end of this meeting. So those of you who are watching on YouTube, you'll have to log back in again. And guys, then the trustees reports will be part of the public session then at 7, correct?
Works.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
because we usually
Yes.
give our trustees reports to the public. Okay. All right. So that leaves us oodles of time. So it's 6:04 p.m. First thing on the agenda is the minutes from the January 18th meeting. Were there any corrections, additions, add-ons to those minutes as presented by Clerk Sakovich? Anybody pick anything up?
Everything's fine by me.
Okay.
Good.
Agreed. We have a new hire for a heavy equipment operator. This is a new hire, correct? Dennis?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, sorry, my computer just decided to update something. Pardon me. Computers, you gotta love them, and you gotta hate them. So this is good. He's bringing Brendan in then as an HEO, correct? That's a nice. Instead of coming in as labor and advancing up the chain, he's got
No,
somebody coming in.
this is a new hire, Dennis Bernier for a heavy equipment operator. You're looking at
That's what
number
I'm saying.
2? Okay,
Yes.
you said, okay, you said Brendan.
Oh, I apologize, Dennis. But he's coming in as an HEO. Usually we bring him in as labor as we promote up. So I'm glad to see you got an HEO to bring in. That's nice. We are promoting Brendan. I apologize. That's number 3. Brendan Kane to become our assistant golf pro up at the country club. Stan, you confirmed that we've been advertising and had a committee out there looking for an assistant pro for 3 or 4 months now, correct?
It's been a frustrating search and we've come up with absolutely nothing. We had one applicant and this applicant was a person who made golf clubs. He had no certification whatsoever. So we went to the PGA show and it's a universal problem. Assistant pros are not to be found. We've got a guy working for us right now that's already started the program. He's an associate at the present time, and I think it's a no-brainer. Dennis is very well liked by the membership, and he did a terrific job for us last summer. So,
Brendan,
what'd I say?
Dennis.
Dennis?
You got the Margot disease. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and you're in Florida, so there's no way that you and I were out beforehand having dinner and a cocktail or something.
I know.
Right? So, okay, good. All right. All right, so the next request is from Allison. North Country Road, we've had some, during those heavy rain events, we've had some serious flooding conditions, I'll just say. We have a situation where we have some of our storm drainage basins are tied into the drainage system at Mather. So we have to kind of explore this together as they're going in for their plans for the new emergency room. So we're going to have to either expand with them or untie ourselves from their drainage systems. So that's a necessary requirement. Denise, I'll have to work with you tomorrow to find a place for that money to come out of, but I don't think we have a choice in that one. The next 2 numbers 5 and 6 are for annual events, and I'm happy to see these events back on the agenda for us to approve. One is for the Maker Fair, which is with our Long Island Explorium, formerly the Children's Maritime Museum, to have their Maker Fair on June 11th at Harborfront Park. It's a nice event for families, nice technology day down at Harborfront Park and at the Village Center. And I'm glad to see that on because I think we missed the last 2 years of having a Maker Fair in our community. Number 6 is the Mather Hospital Families Walk for Hope breast cancer fundraiser, May 22nd. And for both of these, the applicants as not-for-profit partners are asking us to waive the $50 application fee. So that's part of the approval process, correct, Barbara?
Only for the Mather is asking us to waive the fee. The Long Island Explorium is paid in full.
Okay, and you have everything you need from them in the application?
I do. Insurance, everything. Yes.
So their next step would be then to set up meetings with code enforcement to go over logistics and the needs of the department.
Correct. And then the code invoice will follow after the event.
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
Number 7, we have an appointee to the Conservation Advisory Committee, Amal Karzai. I think we all know Amal. We've been working with her on the issue up on the top of East Broadway with different types of signage to help with her traffic calming in their neighborhood. Number 8 is the matter by which we will go into exec session and get an update from our village attorney, Mr. Richard Harris, on the status of this long-awaited action. And then probably come out of exec session, Brian, at that time to approve this resolution, or I can keep it in the general flow here, correct?
I would keep it in the general flow. I don't anticipate any dissent.
Okay. Number 9, you wanted to give us some background on number 9. It's a request for the return of a cash bond for a subdivision on Pine Hills
Yeah.
Road subdivision that's been in the planning department for, I think, 13, 14, 15 years, something like that. That's part of the issue, correct, Brian?
Yes, correct, Mayor. This has been a long time approved subdivision by the planning board. The planning board requires the placement of a bond with regard to any public improvements that need to be undertaken as part of the subdivision. The drainage, the roadways, the sidewalks, the curbing, et cetera. That number, because it was placed so long ago, number 1 is way outdated. Number 2, and I spoke with both sets of attorneys today, both by email and personal telephone conversations today. There is an issue with regard to that bond continuing and then the responsibility for the replacement. So what there was a request for the refund of that existing $175,800 cash bond. We've confirmed that amount is with the Treasury's office. And my recommendation tonight is to approve the request or the return. However, because there is I don't want to say dispute, but there is a disagreement as to the status of both 1, who's the current owner of the subdivision, and then 2, whose responsibility for the bond, whose responsibility it is for the bondholder, that I would recommend that we approve the return, the request for the return, and then we just hold off for a week before Treasury actually returns it till next Monday.
Okay, so I'm sorry, did you say there's a question as to who the owner is?
Well, it's in transition. The subdivision was sold, so there was a question on the authority for the request for the return of the bond, whether you had to be the person who posted the bond or the owner of the properties. There was a little bit of a dispute on authority.
Okay,
So that was really the question.
okay. So the developer nevertheless is going to be posting an updated bond with the village before anything happens.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So, and probably this wasn't handled between the two at the closing table. It's been like a holdover matter,
Correct.
probably. Okay, all right. Folks, there's a question as to whether or not we could move up our meetings instead of starting at 6 o'clock with the public session at 7 o'clock, pushing the meetings at 5 p.m. To start for the business portion, and then going into the public session at 6 o'clock as the days are lengthening. It's kind of a nice thing to do. I think I'm just, wanted to see if how the board feels about that opportunity.
I have no problem with it. I think it's a good idea.
I support
Okay.
it as well. I think it makes sense for everyone.
I have a question sort of on top of that. Are we planning on continuing to sort of tape and stream meetings when we go back into in person so that anyone who might miss that portion or the meeting can view the meeting after?
Yeah, I think we've arranged and have the new technology up in the courtroom to be able to do that, Rebecca. So Kevin, is that correct?
That is potentially correct. Yep, we'll test it out. Yep.
Fabulous. Thank you. Then I have no opposition to moving it earlier.
Okay, so there's a question though as to when we'll go back to in-person. It may be March, it may be April, depending on how the rest of the world is looking out there and how we're feeling about getting back in person as early as March. So look for that new time on the next invitation. The second meeting will still continue to be at 3:30 in the afternoon. Okay. We have the warrants as presented. I know we had an issue from our internal auditor with respect to the Chip et al. Fees. Joe, was there anything we went out to bid, is that correct? Or can you give me an update on that? You and Denise, maybe?
I did not get a chance to look at the warrant, so I don't know what comment the auditor made. This was the same comment that he made last year. Chip et al. Is a dump facility. They're local. They're right around the corner. There's a location where we dumped our leaves last year. We believe it was a very good rate. I had reached out to the town of Brookhaven to find out where and how much it would cost for dumping fees at one of their facilities. I did not hear back from them. So we had to move forward with Chip et al. Again, last year it was the length of time that it would take to cart these leaves out to a Brookhaven facility, as well as gas thrown on top, and then additional expense in terms of labor for the trucking. So,
All right, Joe, you're just, for some reason, your audio is a little hard to hear, but I did hear you. And if you're
Okay.
not on speaking, guys, if you could mute yourself, that would be helpful. Denise, do you have any comment or suggestion,
Just
recommendation?
David thinks that it should have went out for bid, even if it was just estimates. So he will not approve it, but the board can approve it there, feeling comfortable with it.
Right, so we used Chip et al. Last year. This is a alternative to dumping the leaves in our landfill at the country club. And I think the issue this year was that we were just in the process, if not finishing, the cleaning out of all the large branches and material. And so we went back to Chip et al. We may not be doing that next year. We have to make a decision. Prefer the board, however, to approve this prior to the season instead of behind the season for next year. But this year it's fait accompli. It's the same thing that we did last year. And I don't think that there's another service really in the area that would be able to take the leaf debris as that is as local and close to proximity to make it as cost effective for us. But again,
And I agree, and we Steve and I want to talk to you about options going forward in terms of leaf program. But I'm also, unclear and unsure as to how we would go out and bid where we would dump these leaves as well.
Right. No, I agree. It's a really kind of a unique service. It's not something that, you have 5 landfill opportunities within the, a 2-mile radius of you. So maybe just some sort of memo to that effect in the file up in the treasurer's department.
Yeah, I did that last year. I'll just resurrect it and use the same one.
Okay, thank you. So that was Dave's only, Mr. Carlson's only comment on the warrants. So otherwise, everything else was approved as presented and approved by the treasurer's office, correct, Denise?
Correct, yes.
Great, okay. Thank you. I don't believe there are any other action items this evening for a resolution. Is that correct, everyone? Stan, I see your hand and you're on mute.
I just want to explain or inform the rest of the board that $120,000 700 check that was drawn, that's the minimums, and we've asked that be held till March 1st. The check
Right,
was
so that-
drawn, but
Right.
I'd like to keep that up in the treasurer's office till March 1st.
Stan, is there any way that to help? I know there's conversation going between our administrative offices and the new operator of the country club. Is there any way you can give them a list of the
Yeah.
amounts of the money so they can start processing the cards?
Yes, they are doing that. I've spoken with
Okay.
Michael.
Okay, good.
We've started this week with giving them a list of all of the.
Okay, because I know
numbers.
like when when you want to start playing, you want to make sure the member can pick up their card without delay. So
Right,
I
the-
appreciate the jump start. No pun intended. No other action items. Then I will ask for a resolution or a motion to approve action items 1 through 11. Is there a motion?
We'll Make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Laux, seconded by trustee Cassay. All in favor? Aye. And we are missing Mr. Miller. Is he vacationing or is he ill or have you heard from him?
I have not heard from him.
Okay, Barbara, if he doesn't chime in at a later time, can you check in on him tomorrow for us?
Of course, of course.
Okay. I'm going to save my report for the public session at 7 o'clock. I did a presentation on the status of where we are with the country club, the East Beach Bluff stabilization projects to share with everyone. I can, just give you some updates. Joe, I think you got the demo figure in today, correct? So let's be, well, maybe we can't play the prices right. Maybe that's not a fair thing to do. But, well, maybe we could. The demo, we had asked Joe to meet with the demo company to get an estimate on the cost to demo the Port Jefferson Country Club facility. I think I would lose because I came in over. My estimate was 1.4 million. That'll give you an idea of the range. Does anybody else want to guess before we disclose the figure?
I'll guess 1 million.
Okay,
That's where I was thinking it was when it went out for estimate.
yeah, Rebecca?
Can I just say, I hope it's a great number for the taxpayers and the village.
That's
Well,
not
it's
fair.
a-
You have to guess.
It's a number, it's a number we need to help us make these decisions going forward, right?
All right, 800,000.
Okay, Stan?
925.
And the actual figure, Brian, do you want to guess? No, okay.
Brian, say $1 and you'll get everything to 800.
That was my tempting strategy, exactly. That's what I was gonna do, so that was unfair, so I'll pass.
Well, we did this with the snowfall the other day, and it was really interesting because the actual number was nowhere near what I thought we actually got. But Barbara, do you want to guess?
I know the answer, so that would be cheating.
You're so
Can
honest. Denise?
Can I guess?
Denise?
And by the way, I'm filing a protest on that snow measurement.
Oh. Red flag on the field. Denise, what's your?
I was going with $1, but I guess I'll do
Make it $2. Make it $2.
$2. I'll do $2.
So the number, Joe, came in at
905,170.
905,170.
905,170.
So I think Rebecca won.
I'll come in on the village hall.
905. Wow. That's actually not as expensive as I thought it was going to be, but it's good to have that at least as a benchmark. And that would be in the event that the building has to be demolished.
And that's the entire building, front to back.
Yeah, I have to look at the proposal in greater detail. It was originally asked to what it would cost to take down, remove, and dispose of. I just want to make sure that all of that is included in their estimate.
Okay, yeah, let's make sure
We got
have
it late this afternoon, so I just really got a chance to look at the number. I didn't get a chance to review the entire proposal.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. So, okay. We're working on the budget, and Kathy Ann, before you leave, is there anything you want to discuss with the board members? Because you won't be part of the public tonight, correct?
Right. Nothing I need to discuss. I just had those few reporting items that you were going to report to the public for me.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Stan, anything you want to discuss with the board members before we go to the public at 7?
Oh, we don't have time.
Really? Okay. Rebecca?
No, I think everything's going to be on my report.
Okay. Denise?
The only thing that I can think of if we want to move it to now is looking at having discussion items for our business meetings consistently. I'd put that on my report just to discuss if we can solidly reinstate that. I know, with the spirit that the discussion items will be the more pertinent ones, and ones that really need to be discussed for our 3:30 business meetings, but still having that ability to share information or query our fellow board members, because maybe 1 month in between meetings is too long.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. It's just that we really have to be mindful of the amount of material on the agenda, but I definitely, I'm looking forward to your update, because sometimes we hear part of it as part of the update. And I don't like, we'll just make sure we keep the meeting moving forward. Denise, did you have anything to?
No, nothing to report. We were just, doing the budget, working on that. That's really all.
Okay, Brian?
No report tonight. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, with that, I'm gonna make a motion. Did I skip Barbara? Did I skip you? I'm sorry. Next meeting is the 22nd. Is that not correct? Because the
Yeah,
21st is a
and
holiday.
that's a Tuesday because of the holiday
Right.
on the Monday, correct, 3:30.
Okay, so, and Joe, do you have anything you want to report to the board before we move into public session?
I do not, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to go into exec session to talk about one litigation matter pending. And make that motion at 6:25 PM. So moved. Is there a second?